Hello everyone. In last video, we discussed about the first two important modifications of the taproot system which is present in the angiospermic plant. These are modification for food storage and modification for respiration. Now in this video, I am going to discuss about remaining two modifications of the taproot system. The third modification which is present in the taproot of the angiospermic plant is modification for nitrogen fixation. While the last type of modification or modification number 4 is modification for reproduction. So first we are going to discuss about how root get modified, taproot of the angiosperm get modified for fixation of the nitrogen. That means they will going to help in the nitrogen fixation process, which ultimately help in the plant growth. Okay, so first we are going to discuss about what is nitrogen fixation. It is the process which occur in the nature that make unavailable nitrogen available for the living organisms. Okay, we know that air contain or atmosphere contain large amount of nitrogen, but it is present in the form of N2, that is nitrogen gas. Okay, and in N2 generally two nitrogen atoms are connected with each other by three bond, okay, triple bonds, and these bonds are very strong bonds and they require large amount of energy to break. Okay, and because of this normally N2 form of nitrogen is unavailable for the living organisms. Okay, plant unable to take this nitrogen directly from the air, so someone have to fix this nitrogen or convert the nitrogen into nitrate or ammonia so that the ammonia can directly absorb by the plant. The process of conversion of this unavailable form of nitrogen into available form is called nitrogen fixation. And for the nitrogen fixation purpose, plant modify their taproot. Okay, so first we are going to discuss how exactly this taproot get modified so that the plant will going to take this nitrogen directly from the soil. Okay, so we know that in case of taproot system, if this is soil surface, okay, and plant stem, taproot system have one main longest and thickest branch of the root. It is called as primary root, and now the primary roots show secondary roots. I have discussed in detail about the structure of the taproot in previous video. Now these secondary roots also develop tertiary roots. Okay, so this is the structure of the taproot system. Now we know that the main branch which develop from the radicle is called as primary root. The order of the first branches that develop from the primary root is secondary root, while the second order branches which develop from the secondary root are called tertiary root. Now these nitrogen fixation modifications generally take place in the taproot system when this root develop nodules or tumor-like structures on them, and these nodules are nothing but the sites of bacterial infections. Okay, so when taproot modify itself for the nitrogen fixation, the root will going to take a special type of bacterium from the soil inside, and due to entry of this bacteria inside the root, a nodule or tumors are produced on the root. These nodules help in the nitrogen fixation process. Okay, this nodule will going to convert N2 form of nitrogen into nitrates, NO or ammonia, NH3 form. Okay, so in this video we are going to discuss in detail about the process by which plant develop these nodules, okay, and how exactly this nodule help in the nitrogen fixation process. So we know that the soil around the root, okay, taproot or adventitious root is called rhizospheric soil. Okay, so the area of the soil around the root is called rhizospheric soil. And this rhizospheric soil sometimes may contain a special types of bacterial cells or bacteria called rhizobium. two important type of bacteria which are available for nitrogen fixation in the soil are rhizobium and azotobacters. Okay, while blue-green algae also play important role in nitrogen fixation, but in nodule formation, instead of BGA or azotobacter, rhizobium only play important role. So this is the bacterium which is responsible for nodule formation in the taproot of flowering plants. Okay, so this rhizobium bacterium generally grow near the roots in the rhizospheric soil. Okay, suppose I zoom this area of the root only, tip area. So you can see this is the tip of root, and we know that different parts or different regions is present in the root, like root cap region, cell division region, cell elongation region, and root hair region, which is the fourth important region which is present in the root. So suppose this is the root hair region which is present in the root, and the root hair region contain large number of root hairs which are single cell thin hair-like structures, and these root hairs are the primary site of the water absorption, okay, which is present in the root of flowering plant. Now, the rhizobium bacterium generally grow near the root hairs, and now they take opportunity to enter inside the root hair by producing the enzymes which degrade the cell membrane or cellulosic wall or the wall of the cell. And now when this bacterium enter inside the root hairs, now they start the process of infection. Okay, this bacterium are prokaryotic organisms which are unicellular. They are present individually in the soil, but when they enter inside the root, they form a chain, and then they migrate towards the primary branch of the root in the form of chain, and this chain of the bacterium is called infection thread. Now, when rhizobium enter inside the root hair, they form infection thread and they migrate towards the primary root through the root hair. Once their migration start, the root hairs change in the structure. Okay, so now you can see the tip of the root hair become curved. Okay, and now they reach to the epidermis. We know that the outermost layer of the primary root is epidermis, and inside the epidermis, plant have cortex region. Then xylem and phloem or vascular bundle. Okay, so now this rhizobium thread enter through the epidermis to the cortex, and once they reach to the cortex region, they stimulate the cortex cell, and now the cortex cell divide rapidly, uncontrolledly, and due to the division of the cortex cell, a cell mass is produced in this area. Okay, large number of cells come together to produce cell mass or tumor-like structure in this area, and this is nothing but the nodules. Okay, so different nodules produced due to the infection of the rhizobium. Okay, and rhizobium enter inside the root through root hair, and due to the entry of the rhizobium, a nodules is produced. So if someone want to isolate the rhizobium or rhizobacteria from the soil, they have to use taproots and nodules of the taproot specially. If we crush the nodules in the sterile buffers, and if we culture the suspension on the Petri plate, we can easily get rhizobacteriums. Okay, so now these nodules are the site where rhizobium lives, and now this rhizobium bacteria also have another function or another important characteristic. They have a special type of enzyme called nitrogenase. This nitrogenase enzyme have ability to convert nitrogen into nitrates or ammonia. This reaction is carried out by this nitrogenase enzyme under anaerobic conditions. So oxygen act as an inhibitor of the nitrogenase enzyme. Nitrogenase enzyme only work in absence of oxygen. So plant have to do something to remove oxygen from these nodules. so that nitrogenase get activated and nitrogen is converted into ammonia, and now this ammonia can be easily uptake by the roots and become available for the plant. Okay, so plant also have a special type of enzyme or a special type of a pink pigment called leg hemoglobin. Leg hemoglobin. Okay, this leg for leguminous plant and HB, because this pink pigment attach or pink pigment can bind to the oxygen molecule. So this pigment have affinity for oxygen molecule. Which plant have this leg hemoglobin? Leguminous plants. Okay, leguminous plants like different type of pea plants, then gram or soybean plant generally have leg HB or leg hemoglobin like pink pigment inside them. Okay, and this pink pigment having ability to bind to the oxygen, okay, chelate the oxygen, or this pigment is also called as oxygen scavenger. They will going to, the molecule of leg HB going to bind to the O2 and make them unavailable or make them non-functional, and due to this binding of leg HB with the oxygen inside the nodule, the condition become anaerobic, which is suitable for nitrogenase activity. And once the leg HB neutralize oxygen, now nitrogenase, which is produced inside the nodule by rhizobium, get activated, and now this nitrogenase enzyme convert or fix nitrogen so that nitrogen is converted into nitrates or ammonia. And now this ammonia is available form of nitrogen, which is easily absorbed by the root system and make it available for the plant for the synthesis of amino acids and nucleotides. So, okay, so this is the route by which plant get unavailable nitrogen in the form of ammonia with the help of rhizobium. Okay, the association of the rhizobium with the roots of the plant is called symbiotic association. This is the example of symbiotic association. Okay, what is symbiotic association? It is the association which is present between two organisms in which both the partners get benefit. Okay, in this association, bacteria get placed to live. Bacteria also give nourishment, or bacteria also going to get nourishment from the plant. In return, plant will going to get nitrogen in the form of ammonia due to action of the nitrogenase of the bacteria. So in this association, both the partner get benefited. So it is called as symbiotic association. And symbiotic association and nodule formation on the root is characteristic feature of the leguminous family of the plants. Okay, so this is all about the modification of the taproot system for nitrogen fixation. So last type of modification in the taproot is for reproduction. How root system can help in the reproduction? Okay, so suppose this is soil surface, plant stem, and the stem have taproot system. So the plant which show modification of the taproot system for reproduction develop some special type of buds on the root, either on the primary or secondary roots. Okay, so these buds get developed on the root system, and now the buds get germinated. Okay, the buds germinate, and due to germination of the bud, the bud will going to develop shoot system as well as new root system. And finally, this bud get detached from the main axis or main root, and now this bud can grow as individual plant. Okay, so formation of bud is the important step in the reproduction in this type of root. And once a bud is produced, the bud will going to develop shoot system as well as root system, taproot system, and ultimately the bird will going to detach from the main branch or main root, and now it will going to grow as an individual plant which show shoot system and root system. In this way, tap roots of the flowering plant get modified for food storage, for respiration, for nitrogen fixation, and for reproduction. From my last video, I am going to start with next root system which is present in the flowering plant, which is adventitious root and their modifications. Thank you.